But anytime someone asks me about my story, with it, they like to hear the whole hospital story and the sensationalism of it, I guess. But I've always got to put in the part that you don't want to have a story like that. So you need to make sure that you take care of yourself so that you don't get to the point where you have to tell this story. I had a lot of symptoms for heart failure, starting back when I was maybe like in junior high. At the time, I used to run track and stuff like that, and I was a rather active person. I was in the marching band. I did athletic stuff with the Boy Scouts, a lot of hiking and things like that. But when you're young, you don't think of heart disease as being something that happens to people who are in their 20s. When you're in your 20s, you think you're invincible, and you think that heart disease is, in lack of a better word, it's an old people's disease, which it's actually not. What I'd like to give from this is, like I was saying earlier, people my age, we think we're Superman. We think nothing's going to get to us, and we think that these problems don't occur for maybe another 40 years, where something like this can happen to everyone. So you've got to stay on top of your health. Yeah. I tell my friends all the time now to listen to the body. If something doesn't feel right, generally it's because it's not right. You can't blame everything on gas or something. You got to realize that if something's hurting, it's hurting for a reason, and you need to stay on top of it. Because had I done that, and had I listened to myself, my heart failure probably wouldn't have gotten to the point that it got to, and it probably could have been diagnosed and treated a lot more easily than it was had it been diagnosed earlier.
And I feel blessed to have had this heart attack, because having this heart attack helped my family and friends and coworkers and people I don't even know. People are coming to me and saying, since your heart attack, I'm going to the doctor, I'm watching what I eat, I'm exercising. And other people are coming to me and saying, I prayed for you and your family. And to know that God used me to help family and friends and even strangers is such a blessing for me to be able to be part of that. Not only to be part of it, but also to be alive to see it. So my heart attack was definitely a blessing. I mean, you could look at it the other way if you want. My sister, yeah, she knew I was healthy. She thought I was healthy also, at least. And when she found out about my heart attack, maybe a week later, maybe not that long, she went to the doctor and she had a checkup, and the doctor did find something that he wasn't comfortable with, but he was able to deal with it right then and there, where that if she would have waited, it probably would have been very serious. She might have spent some time in the hospital or worse. But because, she went right away, the doctor was able to give her some medicine or whatever and deal with it that way, instead of being hospitalized or like I said, even worse. I could help save someone's life or make them aware of how important it is to get checkups, go to the doctor. If your wife tells you or your son tells you, you don't look right, don't argue with them. Do what they say. It almost cost me my life.
Because he didn't look right.
Yeah, I didn't realize how bad off I was. I could have died behind just being hard-headed.
I want to say, too, that these heart issues don't just affect the person that has it directly. It affects everybody around you. So maybe if you don't want to keep up with your health for yourself, keep up your health for somebody that cares about you. Because my mother has gone through a lot in the past 2 years, having, because of both of our heart issues. And so, it's put a strain on her probably just about as much as it's put a strain on us.
Yeah,
so, so if you, do it, if not just for yourself, do it for somebody that you care for.
is I never want to put my family through what I put them through when I had my heart attack. I never want to see them go through that again. Since my heart attack, November the 2nd, it's been, what, 4 or 5 months? 5 months.
6 months.
I've lost 30 to 40 pounds. My eating habits are way better than they were. Even though they weren't that bad, they're better. I'm exercising, I'm doing all the right things. And like I said, I never, ever, and no one else, I think about it. Putting your family through, I slept through most of my problems, but my family was there every second, every minute, watching me go through this, not knowing if I'm going to live or die. If you love someone, don't ever put them through that if you can help it.
I had the LVAD in for a total of 18 months, and then I had it removed on April 20th this year, 2012. And I mean, you can while it's in you, you can definitely see the progression of your heart getting better. Things aren't as difficult to do anymore. Like before, before I got it, I was extremely lethargic. I couldn't walk like a block without feeling sick. And with the LVAD in, I felt a lot better. You definitely can't feel sorry for yourself. I mean, you're put in a situation that you're not very happy with, but I mean, you've got to deal with it, and you're not the only one that's going through it. Because I was also able to speak with other patients before me that were kind of telling me what they had gone through, and that's important to know that someone else like you made it through it. And for me, it's important to show somebody else that they're going through what I went through a few months ago, and I made it through it. Because last Mother's Day, she was still dealing with my stuff, and I just got my LVAD out, and now it's about to be Mother's Day, so she doesn't have to worry about it as much as she did before. I'm a lot healthier than I was last Mother's Day.
My wife has been so strong going through something like this. He's my only son, so it's just us three. And for my wife to go through what she went through, she had to be strong, and she was. And, a lot of prayers and a lot of help, support, and we got through this. But we couldn't have done it without his mother and my wife, Glenda Benoit. We could not have done it, no way.
I'm certain that had I not been given the LVAD, I wouldn't have made it. As many people who have heart failure compared to the available donors, I mean, it's not the same amount. So there are much less donors than there are people who need them. So the heartmate that I had was definitely a good thing to have around, because it kept me alive long enough for my heart to repair itself. A lot of times people have it while they're waiting for a heart, and some people like myself have it while they're waiting for the heart to repair itself. But without that device, a lot of us wouldn't have made it to that point.
People would take into consideration how important it is to be a donor. I can't stress that enough, because luckily we had the LVAD for my son, but if he needed a transplant and there wasn't a heart available, he wouldn't be here now. And we want to stress that also. It's very important that you just take the time to look into it. If you're not comfortable with it, ask somebody. Look into it. Find out what all it takes to be a donor. It's very important that we do this, because it could save a life. And what better gift can you give to someone than a heart or life? Even though I'm a heart failure survivor, I'm also still an organ donor. So don't think that just because one of your organs kicked out on you, that you can't, the other ones aren't salvageable.